from Ecclesiastes. My child, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for testing. And from James, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy. Somebody had given me a book. I don't even remember who gave it to me, but it was a book about Holy Man. It was a little bit of a cute, sweet novel. And the story was all the people who were in line to see the Holy Man. And basically, the Holy Man told almost the same thing to every person. And the Holy Man said, if you treat everybody like they're a holy person, you didn't even say the Christ, everything will change. If you treat everybody. So I think that's a good idea, and I realize that it's a very simple instruction, and I'll tell you, you could ask Roland how well I did this week. Okay, now here today, I want to talk about growth and change, and I'm going to start you off with a very strange video. Some of you are going to go, oh yeah, I know what that is, and other people are going to go, what is she doing? Sometimes if it's dark up here, if you turn behind, it's a little bit clearer, but I'm going to turn off these lights and we're going to watch this video.
Doctor, I let you go.
Oh, Berlin. Who knows what that was? Okay, a couple people know. Hey, so this is about change. Doctor Who is a science fiction character who goes through something called regeneration. And whenever one of Doctor Who's bodies, when the body is going to die, this regeneration things happen. And the exciting thing about the latest regeneration is Doctor Who's a lady Doctor Who this time. So you notice how she saw she was a lady and she said, brilliant. So does that look hard or painful? You think it might be? I think of, I was thinking of other examples of that dramatic change. A phoenix, the myth of the phoenix. The phoenix bursts into flame and emerges as an egg, actually, and then rehatches. I also like to think about snakes shedding their skin. That's a little bit not as dramatic, right? The snakes, and the skin. But it's all an example of individual change. So I wanted to show that because thinking about the change, that looks like a painful change, right? Well, let me just tell you, changing individually like that, that's nothing compared to changing with a group. Right? Being in a relationship and having your relationship grow and change. Being in a community and working together and working together to have your community change. That's the hard part. There is a beautiful parable about the wineskins, and it's in all the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It's just a one-sentence parable. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is lost. And so are the skins, but one puts new wine into fresh wineskins. That's an interesting thought, an interesting whole story. And wineskins is an interesting old metaphor, but it's pretty good because I don't know about you, but I've never actually even seen a wineskin. The deal is, once a wineskin has had its first batch of wine and the wine ferments and moves the skin, the wineskin is set. So if you empty out the old wine and put in a new batch of fermentation, it's going to crack the skin. Do you ever feel like you're cracking from change or fermentation or growth? Yeah. That's the metaphor. We've all felt growing pains. We've all felt how hard sometimes it seems to change our consciousness, to change our ideas, to change our brain, to be the new and the better person, to even have some better ideas. The other parable like that is the parable of the leaven. That's found in 2 of the Gospels. It's another one-sentence one. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into a large amount of flour until it worked all through the dough. So the kingdom of heaven is our consciousness of our God consciousness. That's what it stands for. And yeast, when you think about it, well, rising, yeast is rising. But the other aspect of this parable is that it's the stretching, it's changing it, like the flour is just sitting there all minding its own business, lying around on the couch, feeling happy. I'm just going to have a couch day, the flour says. And then somebody shakes the flour into a bowl and adds some yeast. And then it's all over. Well, they have to add some water too, some other stuff. It's all over, right? Then there is no more lying on the couch once the yeast gets in you. You cannot lie peacefully on the couch anymore. If nothing else, you're going to bubble up and boil, be like a growing thing, rising bread over the couch. You're not going to be in the same space. You're going to grow. Now, here's a question. Now, if you have read Immunity to Change, you can't answer this because you'll know the answer, but in an ordinary organization, most people are doing a second job no one is paying them for. What do you guess the second job is? Just think, in any organization, whether it's where you work or your church or your Girl Scout group, or most people are doing a job that they don't get paid for, a second job. I know somebody out there has a good smart ass answer. I know it. Somebody. Don't be shy. Good idea. What do you think that job is? Becoming a better person. That's a thought. Anybody else? Something along those lines? Yeah, Judy? Volunteering. Any more ideas? You guys are just so beautifully high-minded. Encouraging other people? That's all great. Well, here's the deal that you will probably laugh a little bit and go, oh yeah. Most people are spending time and energy covering up their weaknesses, managing other people's impressions of them, showing themselves to the best advantage, hiding their inadequacies, hiding their uncertainties, just plain hiding. I am super good at that. You know, all of us are very good at that. So the the goal is to notice, right? To notice that if we're spending all this energy hiding the growing pains or hiding who we really are, how freeing and beautiful would it be if we get together as a community and just say, you know, flat out, okay, I am not gonna hide anymore. I just want you to know that when I stand up here and I act like I have it all together, ha ha ha, that is not true. And I am not going to pretend to be nice all the time when I'm not feeling nice. And I'm not going to pretend to know the answers. And I'm going to try really hard not to freak out when things don't go my way, but I cannot promise anything. Think how freeing and beautiful that will be when we're all in the room together, not hiding. Think how much more energy we have if we're really working together instead of, let me tell you, I've had a lot of opportunity to work in groups throughout my career, and I I think maybe next time we'll just take a video of one of the board or the centers or whatever, you know, any of our meetings, and we'll all laugh. There's my guy. Hi. See, he's not hiding anything. That is what we want to do. We want to return to where we're like little children. So here is my invitation to you. As a community, as Unity Center of Des Moines, we're going to do some exciting things. In May, we're going to have a meeting. It's kind of like a town hall meeting for visioning and to get together, which you are going to be invited to. It's a Saturday in May. I haven't got the exact date yet. We've got a facilitator who's going to lead us in this process. And the process is going to be to really join in conscious community so that we're going to create goals around developing ourselves instead of hiding ourselves and developing our community, you know, so that it serves us better, you know, so that we're more supported and that this community is what we want it to be. I spent a lot of years working at summer camp, and one of the things I loved about summer camp was it was a beautiful little community for, you know, 2.5 months in the summer. I loved it. I loved it because I was a counselor, and sometimes I was the head of the camper leaders, so I could be outside, and it was beautiful, and there were wonderful relationships, and I could boss people around a little bit because I was the counselor. And the interesting thing when I think about this immunity, about the growth and how we hide ourselves is in that community, it was actually very organized. And in my 20s, I loved that. Like if you've ever been to a summer camp, usually there's lots of traditions and lots of rules, and everybody agrees to that for, you know, the kids maybe just a week and the staff for like 2.5 months. And it works really well, and everybody's sad, and at the end it ends. And it's beautiful because you're living with these people and you get to eat together, and you do have wonderful experiences. I think summer camp is one of the best things you can ever do for kids because they get to be in communities that are not their own family. But as a staff person, I realized that it's like the beauty of it is that it ended really before any of us got into our we could hide ourselves for 2.5 months, okay? That's that whole joke about the summer romances, at the end of the summer. Well, you best say goodbye because uh, back in the whatever, the quote unquote real world or whatever, your regular school life, whatever it is, maybe the scales fall from our eyes, right? So, what we want to have is a year-round summer camp community. You know, we want to build our community. We want to make our rules together. We want to uh, we want to learn how to deal with the yeast of change and embrace ourselves along the way and come up with something that sustains, that doesn't have to end, in 2.5 months. So that I'm actually calling on everybody here, whether you come one Sunday, you come two whether you keep coming, to commit to being a part of creating this community, this unity, the bigger umbrella community, because why not free up some of that energy? Now, the other beautiful thing about all of the things about change, and I want to read that there's so much, we're so lucky because people are studying, we're studying ourselves, and there's people writing books, and there's spiritual teachers, and there's group teachers, and there's dynamic teachers who we all know how we work. And so they give us a lot of tools. And one of the tools is this immunity to change, finding out why is it hard to change? Why does it take a lot of gold light shooting out of your head and your arms to change? Why isn't it just a quiet little, "Oop, now I'm different"? And part of what we'll do this month is we'll study that. And I'll give you some exercises to do and some spiritual teachings about that. But I want to give you a little bit of a preview. Just think of this. So here's some people in a group. I'm going to say 2 people. So, and thinking about why is it hard to change? Why is it hard to change? John, he has a commitment to high quality communication with my colleagues. And then there's a question you ask yourself, what am I doing or not doing that is keeping myself from this commitment? So John says, I'm committed to high quality communication. Then he says, he actually spends some time and says, well, what am I doing that isn't like that? Sometimes they use sarcasm. And then spends a little more time competing commitments. John notices this about himself. I am committed to maintaining a distance from my white colleagues. And you take it a little deeper and look at a big assumption. His big assumption is, I assume I will lose my authentic connection to my racial group if I get too integrated into the mainstream. So isn't that an interesting thing? It's kind of like that. It's a pretty great example of the commitment to communicate and then hiding, the fear. But he's thinking, I don't want to lose that. But if he looks at it, he can recognize, well, maybe there's some kind of way to do both. And this is, I'm going to read one more because it sort of reminded me of myself. Mary, she's committed to leadership by enabling people to make decisions. I can get behind that. So what is Mary doing or not doing that's keeping her from doing that? She says, I don't delegate enough. I don't pass on the necessary information to the people. I delegate too. What's her competing commitment? I'm committed to having things go my way. Ouch, is that too close for comfort? I am committed to having things go my way, to being in control, and to ensuring that the work is done to my high standards. So what's her big assumption? I assume that other people will waste my time and theirs if I don't step in. I assume others aren't as smart as me. That isn't my particular thing. I have other stuff. But I noticed that. So in in the month of April, we're going to look at growing, and we're going to look at changing, and we're going to look at doing it together and individually. Okay, so individually, you can still change by yourself in the room or in the TARDIS, however you want to do it. And but we'll also support each other in changing together. Let's take an offering for unity.